es la voz de LA. It's like una galaxiana, come and kick it with us. I bring the bossa nova beats and talk the club that we love. Another year to adjust, and Will Kuntz we all trust. 6 titles in the cabin, tell a hater shut up. Mirar al horizonte con el cielo morado. Llegamos al estadio como siempre lo hago. Es la nueva temporada, ya cumplí 30 años. Rezándole a San Pequi que no dé al travesaño. Que repartan los balones y no sean tacaños. Que regrese el contraataque y que le hagamos daño. Un saludo para Robert, hermanos ecuatorianos. Que la táctica de Ananda nunca sean en vano. Si se trata de mi gala me levanto temprano. Ver el fur en verano, en el pasto tumbado. Siempre estoy a tu lado, en cualquier resultado. Vamos Galaxy, hot top is where I gotta be. Chilling in the canopy, staging like a winery. Goals during rivalries, brew from the refinery. Only want the finer things, we letting you know. Lo que pasa en la galaxia, ready, let's start the show.
Hello, hola, and buenas, and welcome back to another episode of La Cuna Galaxiana, a podcast always made with love for all you LA Galaxy fans, because we know you're going through it, and for all you soccer fans out there in the world, you have a place here too. And like I said, Galaxy fans, I know you're going through it. So today, it's right back to sad full hours as your Galaxy crashed out of the League's Cup after losing at home to the Seattle Sounders 2-0 in the semifinal round of the tournament on Wednesday, August 27th. A result that will now force the Galaxy to a third-place game if they still want to qualify for next year's CONCACAF Champions Cup. We'll talk about the Galaxy's old Achilles heel that came back to bite them, LA's big misses on the day, some suspect refereeing, how Seattle has their number, and what is now left to play for this year in Los Angeles. We'll also look ahead to the Galaxy's third-place Leagues Cup home game this weekend against Orlando City, another match that Greg Vanney and the team are viewing as a final. Plus, is the U.S. men's national team coach right? Is MLS on par with most of the European leagues out there? All of that and more coming up on La Cuna Galaxiana. Before we go any further, let me introduce myself. I'm one of your co-hosts, Rob Jalon. You can find my written work at the Sporting Tribune. And as always, right next to me, you have El Papá de Nata. And back from the other land, El Yerno Guapo, Ananda Kirana. Good morning to you, sir.
Goodly morning with my ASMR voice at some godly hour in the morning, but it's all right. It's all right because we're here to talk
trying
about
to be all seductive.
We're here trying to talk about the damn team. Unfortunately, because I wanted to be here to talk about a win, so that my voice would be less ASMR and more whatever that adjective is. Can't find it right now at this early morning, but yeah, man. This is another sad few hours, like probably the 100th one that we've had this year, because this team is, let me just say it, they've been absolutely shite this year. And so we've got one thing left to play for and one thing only. We will talk about that towards the end of the show. But Papa, you know how we do it on the show. We've got a couple of guests, by the way, that we've got to bring on shortly. But before we do that, you know how we roll on the show. One word match reaction. You know what? Since my brain isn't functioning yet, I still got to have my cafecito.
You're going to kick it to me, aren't you?
I'm going to kick it to you. I am absolutely going to kick it to you because exactly. Man. Yeah.
Expected.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, I really, well, man,
let me pull up receipts on the prediction. Let me pull up receipts.
No. I was going to go head and heart, and then I got called out on it by you. And so I went, hey, I'll just give you one. And I went with, my most optimistic one, but the Seattle team's good, man. It's not even like everybody was like, oh, the Galaxy played so bad. Honestly, I'll get into it a little bit more later, but I mean, echaron ganas, bro. Like they were out there, maybe they weren't given the best performance, but no, las ganas estuvieron ahí. So anyway, we'll get into that more so people can come at me and chat and cancel me. But no, it expected, but it's just because Seattle's so freaking good, man. Like they're so deep. I mean, I don't even think it's that the Galaxy played particularly bad. Like I said, it's just that Seattle's makes and Seattle makes you look that bad. They're just that good, and it's like, man. Anyway, we'll get into it. We'll talk to our guests about it too, and
Yeah,
you know,
for sure.
see what they have to say. But yeah, I mean, expected basically.
Let me.
Unfortunately,
I was gonna say let me pull up some of these good ones in chat. You could get back to your point too. Maybe you had a good one. You're on a wind up right now, Robert. I love it. So XPH says disheartened. Crespo said one word: pathetic, sad, embarrassing. WTF? Take your pick, right? Juan Quintanilla says heartless. Ooh, these are good, man. These are good. I mean, I think
I disagree. I mean, Juanito, I love you, but I disagree. Like, I saw Galaxy players that were out there sudando la camiseta. So like, I saw these takes on Twitter, and I mean, maybe soccer's just that like opinion dividing now that it's like I see one thing, you see another thing. But I mean, I was seeing players that were okay. I'll take that back, with the exception of a couple of times on a couple of plays, and we will get into that. You know, I felt like at least the effort was there. They started slow for sure, but anyway,
yeah. Well,
let's get to these guests. Go ahead, man.
Yeah, we'll ask the boys for sure. If I had to throw mine out there, wasted opportunity, basically.
You're wasted?
I mean, I probably sound wasted. I probably sound like I've been drinking sangria and you know, all that good stuff last night. But no, man, wasted in terms of wasted opportunity and just the wasted effort, unfortunately. So, but yeah, let's get the boys on.
Well, really quick before we do, guys in chat, you'll know when we have amazing guests like these following gentlemen by subscribing to the show, liking these episodes, commenting, letting us know what you like, what you didn't like. Let us know. Talk to us. We're here to listen. Super chats are now available as well. Let us know if you got something pressing to get off your chest, a burning question for one of these fabulous gentlemen that are about to join us. And you know, you guys know how it works. Get us a six MLS Cup titles. You guys can do the math, the synergy, all that kind of stuff. If you're watching on X and Instagram, thank you so much for doing so. Do us a solid. Jump on over to YouTube, hit that subscribe. Then you can jump back to your regular scheduled programming. And Ananda says we're now on Blue Sky. I've yet to verify that. I'm not going to lie. But apparently we are. And of course, we've called this out a couple of times already, but Ananda and I were on a cool transfer video on Goals TV. We really enjoyed doing, and it's now available, so go check that out. And then Ananda did a video with Jose of Goals TV, aka Bromigo, and you guys can check that out now as well. And speaking of Goals TV and Jose,
oh, you love your segues.
Yeah, I do. Let's bring the man on himself.
Sucker. Sucker for him. You're a sucker.
Oh yeah,
for him.
I love him. And Jose too, because you know he's doing that thing out there in the United States, trying to make, in his words, soccer effing cool again here in the United States. Let's bring back Jose from Goals TV. Thank you so much, Papa, for being back.
Let's go, man. First off, thanks for having me back, man. This is the intro, the segues. I gotta give props to the segues. Rob, you're crushing it. Bro, I mean, I like again, any chance I have to jump on the show, man, I will. So I appreciate it.
Get it.
Thank you, man. We really like the rebrand, man. I mean, it came off amazing. You know, we see you out there, man. We see you out there doing that thing, and obviously, you know, we've seen these Eric Ronaldo videos that are wonderful because they're polarizing and they invite discussion. So I think it's pretty fun, man. So let's go ahead and bring on our next guest. Sale? Let's go. And back from Goals TV as well, our man Hondo. What up?
Hey, a pleasure and an honor to be here on Lacuna Galaxiana. Literally an actual honor, because when I got onto Goals TV as well too, working with Jose, he told me about you guys. You should go check them out. And ever since then,
he was like, "Hey, go check these guys out. Don't do that."
Hey, you guys' content above and beyond.
Hey,
yeah,
thank you,
man. Big fans
thank
of
you
the
so
show.
much, man.
This is your debut, Honda. So welcome.
Thank Yeah, man, we appreciate you being here. I like your Batman throwing up deuces in the background. That's pretty chill. Yep. Really quick before we get into everything Galaxy and everything the league, I just got to say, Jose and Ananda, please take care of Piero Hincapié for me at Arsenal.
Will do.
100%. That's a whole nother podcast. That's a whole nother podcast.
Bro, I trust me. I'll embrace him. We'll hug him, hold him tight, make sure he's warm at night. Trust, bro. We're gonna take care of him. Don't worry.
Do they need another center back? That's the thing. Like,
I mean, they're so stocked right now.
We can hoard.
That's. I mean, Ananda, what did you tell me that they had spent the other day? Like 300 quid.
They're about to spend 300 million quid if they sign Piero.
Hey, that's. Jose's is shaking his head like that's light work. I got that on a Tuesday.
Let's go, man. It's called ambition. I'm here for it.
Hey, right on, guys. Well, hey, you guys know how I like my segues. The Galaxy showed a lot of ambition getting so far in this tournament. Unfortunately, they crashed out last night to Seattle 2-0. A lot of divided opinions on this one. Like I said, a lot of people saw a lot of different things. But what is certain is that they lost 2-0, and now they're going into that third place game. Guys, you know how we do here on this show? We do the one-word match reaction. Jose, since you've been with us already, we're going to kick it to Honda first because this is his first one-word match reaction, and I remember my first. So go ahead and hit us up with your one-word match reaction.
Oof. People are going to disagree with me, right? But better.
Oh, see, Rob?
Okay. Well, tell us why. I mean, you know, you piqued my interest. Go ahead and tell us why.
I mean, dude, we've seen how the Galaxy have been coming in throughout this season. Starting off with the San Diego loss, obviously that's going to hurt. We didn't think it was going to be much more than that. And then it just came to results after results. We just kept losing and losing. And we looked terrible on the pitch throughout. Now, right, in this game, okay, yes, we lost. We lost 2-0. We didn't get a goal. But at least some of the players showed ambition. Cuevas trying to get those plays through, right? Peg showing a little bit more than what he was showing in the actual season itself. Painso picking it up a little bit. But I do see something going into next year. I'm not saying this year because, to be honest with you, I lost.
Yeah, that seemed to be the theme, though, Ananda. Post game in the mix zone, a lot of these players
mix zone
were saying, you know, yeah, exactly, mix zone. But a lot of these players were saying that now they need to start putting in performances that are going to start building for next year. And I think they've, you know, I think at least subconsciously, some of these players are like, okay, well, this year is kind of a wash. Greg has said it. The captain Maya has said it. And you know, it's probably not going to happen in the playoffs. I mean, even though mathematically they're still alive. But what about you, Jose?
Man, it's a good question. I think from being the only non-Galaxy fan here, right, I will say, you know, let down. But I think there's more positive sentiment behind it than that word implies. I think to be let down, you have to start from a position of hope. You have to feel some level of optimism going into a game like that. And again, as a neutral fan watching this game, me and Honda were talking about it before the game even started. And I felt like, you know, it would be insane, right? With the season the Galaxy have had up to this point, for there to be some light at the end of the tunnel, for there to be some sort of redemption this season, walk away with something. And you still might, right? With a third place game. I'm not implying that. But there really was an opportunity to make a final in a year where there felt like there wasn't anything to play for. Surprising a lot of course, the hometown fans along the way. And so I think we all felt, based on the run of form, Seattle was the stronger team, but you still had that optimism going to the game. I had it as a neutral, but unfortunately, right, it came that Seattle's just frankly too much.
Yeah, I mean, they were saying all the right things in the lead up. I mean, I saw these players, Jose. I mean, they looked there. They looked focused. They looked locked in. And unfortunately, just on the pitch, there was moments where they were a step too slow. And I don't even think it was just like lack of effort. Just again, I just think the Seattle is is hitting top form right now. I think they're just that good. What was reaction like to this game, if anything, in your neck of the woods, Jose?
I'll be honest, man. As someone who's on, if anybody here is turning to Goals TV, I haven't been the most friendly to Seattle, and this is not even just this season. I would say this is in recent seasons. My biggest criticism of them has always been they're not the flashiest team. It's not a sexy team you can just kind of sit down as a neutral and tune into and have a great time watching this team play. Heavily focused on keeping the opponent out, very defensive, had some promising attacking pieces. And I even felt that way coming into this season. You can make the argument that they were playing just like that for the better part of this year. And like you said, Rob, it's now changed where they're coming into this run of form that makes them pretty scary, especially on the attacking side of the ball, doing it without the likes of Jordan Morris, Albert Rusnak. So, I mean, I want to give props to Seattle. I feel like I haven't really done that in at least a little while. They're turning my head. That's something, like I said, I haven't really given them the credit for quite some time now. So Galaxy can hold their heads high. I do think that. Like Honda said, it's better than what it's been. Tournaments and cups present that opportunity to completely flip a narrative. And I think that up until this point where you were outmatched by a team that is in crazy good form, with a player like De Rosario on the other side, it's so difficult to even think about how you stop a piece like that. 2-0, it's not the end of the world, and you still have something to play for. So, there is still that redeeming quality this season. But yeah, man, like I said before, it really did feel like, from a neutral's perspective, it just would have been interesting had you not conceded so early. I'm really curious to see what would have happened had Peck grown into the game maybe a little bit faster while the game was still 0-0.
Oh no, absolutely. I mean, it's an example of the Galaxy shooting themselves in the foot again. Several players spoke about it afterwards. Honda, what about you? What was your kind of like feeling after the game? Did you feel like the Galaxy were in this one, or did you feel like, like I've mentioned, Seattle just outmatched them? I mean, they were kind of overwhelmed.
Let me talk a little bit about before the game as well too, because it kind of does take into consideration. I was talking with Jose earlier as well too before the game. I literally told him I feel super pessimistic. I wouldn't doubt if we get clapped up 4-0 again, right? In all honest truth, we didn't. We went in there, and I feel like we could have gotten back into the game, maybe like a 2-1, maybe even a 2-2, right? Because Leagues Cup, we're playing different in the Leagues Cup than we are in the actual league. But at the same time, we face teams who we should be beating anyways. Tijuana, with Gilberto Mora being their only piece. We face Santos, which they're not such a good club anymore, right? Not like how they used to be. Cruz Azul, they were having their doubts as well too, but we faced Seattle. We lost 2-0. They probably could have beat us by a little bit more, but at the same time, we got out there, we fought, and knew who got a red card. Peck was in the game.
Collateral damage. That's exactly. Pretty hilarious. Well, we'll get back to some Galaxy talk maybe a little bit later, but let's go ahead and I mean, honestly, I love what we're about to talk about because it gives me an opportunity to just be real petty, and I love that shit. So let's go ahead and talk U.S. men's national team. Obviously, the selections here were made by Mauricio Pochettino, and he made some interesting comments as well. So let's look at this list here, guys, and any potential snubs. I mean, you have Christian Pulisic back in the team. I mean, it seems like him and Poch have made up. Everything is forgiven. Alex Zendejas, which is a great inclusion, but are there any surprises for you, Honda?
Ooh, as far as the prizes go, no, because he does like to move around like pieces and stuff like that. I mean, Damian Downs, I haven't really heard too much about him, but yeah, other than that, no, not really.
I have more than a few surprises.
Yeah, let us know. I was like, I know Jose's gonna want to be petty with me on this too. Let's go.
Look, man, I mean, at this point of the cycle, right? A year from a World Cup, there's maybe 3 to 4 camps left. I think what was most interesting in terms of exclusions were guys like Johnny Cardoso, who frankly enough is starting, his own European season with a brand new club. Maybe there's some logic there. Brendan Aronson, again, you can make excuses that maybe he's kicking off in the Premier League and got to be super focused and locked in on that. But I mean, and Aiden Morris, Weston McKennie, oddly enough, not making it in, and then hearing rumors that Poch maybe never even planned to include him, despite some of the MLS players that were called up. Tanner Tessman doing work in the Serie A. And then still even guys who have been, the USMNT's bread and butter for years on end and maybe have downgraded a little bit, like Matt Turner over the last couple of years in his own career. There's just more than a few names. Haji Wright is another one. There's just more than a few names that I kind of expected at this point when we're this close for the manager to have a real understanding of what his bread and butter should be, who are his old reliables, who he should be focused on really trying to sharpen ahead of arguably the biggest World Cup in recent history. So that, from my perspective, there's more than a few exclusions.
Yeah, and I mean, GCam, the brother GCam in chat says Josh Sargent. I mean, he's doing his thing over there in Norwich. And Galaxy fans are going to kill me for this one, Ananda. But I really, really think that the Roldans might, well, not both of them, because obviously one plays for El Salvador, but the other Roldan, man, he's playing, he's like I said, Seattle's playing great ball. He's playing great ball at the moment as well. You got to give him a look. I mean, he bossed the midfield against the Galaxy twice, pretty much by himself. So you got to give him a look. So that's my big exclusion. So Galaxy fans, don't kill me, don't cancel me. But then we had some interesting comments from Mauricio Pochettino. Ananda, hit it.
Well, I'm just going to read what's on the slide. The title says MLS over Europe? ? Exclamation. Poch, we need to give the MLS the value, because I think competing there, I think players can show they can perform in the national team. I think it's not necessary to move from MLS to Europe. Because sometimes on MLS, under my assessment, maybe is more competitive than some leagues in Europe. We have some players competing in different leagues that maybe are not so competitive, or in every single week compete in the same way that you compete in MLS every single week. Oh, if you play a team in Europe, you are above the players that are in MLS. That is not the way to assess. Now, really quick, before we hand it over to these gentlemen, I do want to put a factoid out there. If you're thinking about, how competitive actually is MLS, well, there's this little slide from Opta, just to give everyone a little reference. This is kind of like showing the strength of each league per power rating, and MLS is just outside the top 10. But you see statistically now, and again, we can't really argue with data too much. You see all those European leagues up there, the Belgian Pro League, obviously even the Championship, right? If you think of other, like those conversation circles, that's what people are sort of pointing to in terms of, no, MLS is better than that, etc. But all that aside, I think these comments are very interesting. I'm pretty sure he was drinking a very, very good Malbec or something that evening. So yeah,
blood. I know when Don Garber heard this comment, he got so aroused. He was just like, he's like, oh my God, like, I love this cat, Pochettino. I want to take him on a date. Like, he just made my life. No, I mean, they're interesting comments. Let's examine this a little bit. Let's hear from our guests here. Honda, do you think Pochettino is kind of got a point here?
Yeah, this is PR, man. This is PR at its finest right here, bro. Honestly, he wants to keep that national team coaching job, but he's not completely wrong. There are some leagues in Europe that easily can be less than MLS, and even like the Liga MX, for example, right? Because, for example, the Belgium league, you look at some of the teams over there, and you're just like, okay, they're at a similar level to these guys over here. And even like, okay, I'm gonna bring in the Club World Cup, even though it's a Mickey Mouse Trophy, Mickey Mouse League, whatever, right? But when they came over here, they were struggling a little bit. A lot of these teams from Europe, and for a reason. I'm just saying.
Go ahead. You're just saying.
Like, I'm just saying, don't diminish the CONCACAF as much. As
interesting. Jose, what do you think? Is Pochettino crazy for saying this? Is Honda right? Is it just PR? Is it just spin? Is he trying to curry favor with Don Garber?
I think it's a little bit of everything. From my perspective, I think someone as intelligent as Poch chooses his words carefully. And I think if you look through this quote, the statement that sticks out to me the most is when he quite literally says, because sometimes MLS is more competitive. I think that word sometimes is very, very key. And I think that anybody can make that argument.
Plausible deniability.
Exactly. It's almost impossible to disprove it. Like in certain instances, sure. But what you get in MLS that you don't really get anywhere else, and this is not necessarily the biggest dig or knock, it's not what I'm intending to do, but you have an imbalance across teams and clubs in Major League Soccer that you do not see anywhere else. Where else are you going to see Messi lining up alongside a college draft pick in the back line? You're just never going to see that, right? Like not in the Eredivisie, not in the Belgian league, not in the Portuguese league. You're never going to see that. There's much more balance. And so while you can argue sometimes MLS is more competitive, I do think there's some sort of an agenda at play behind the scenes. I know we're saying Garber's probably at the same time, probably kissing up to Pochettino for what he said. I like to think Garber probably knew what he was going to say before he said it. And I feel as though MLS, there's an agenda around creating more MLS relevance within the U.S. men's national team. And the other argument I've also seen a lot on the timeline has been, well, we shouldn't question Poch because he's just coached in places and been places that, frankly, no manager in USMNT history has been, outside of maybe the likes of like Jurgen Klinsmann or something. But something to also remember is that Poch has never been widely successful across any of those stints. He's never touched that elusive trophy. And he's had more than enough pieces to do it all along the way. So to just believe that what he says should be taken as gospel, and that we shouldn't question the call-ups for this camp specifically this close to a World Cup, I think is pretty foolish. And I do think that there is some sort of PR or agenda behind all of this.
Yeah, no, I think there's some kind of healing, quote unquote, because if y'all remember, just a couple months ago after that performance, what was it in the Gold Cup? Was it? I mean, it was disaster all around the U.S. men's national team. Then a story broke that Pochettino interviewed with clubs in England, and then that kind of died down, and all of a sudden everybody's like, "Oh, we're super happy again." But Jose, I think it's really interesting, and I hadn't put a number on it, but you said there's 4 cycles until the World Cup kicks off, and by now this man needs to have a lineup set, like his trusted players, his go-to guys, the guys that he's maybe I just need to give him another look to make sure that he's the one. But I feel like there's almost no sense of urgency around this, man. I feel like you said, it's going to be the biggest event, World Cup here in ever, and the US is like, we'll see what's up. We'll see what happens. Well, the team will pick itself. Guys, let's switch gears really quick. In Galaxy Land, I don't know if you guys heard about this, but we're all, content creators here. We're all on podcasts and stuff, and it's always fun, checking out new podcasts. And the Galaxy has just announced one called Kobe Club. This is a new monthly podcast run by LA Galaxy legend Kobe Jones. He's the host. Episode 1 was a kind of like a reunion with the 2005 championship team, and they talked about a lot of things: the U.S. men's national team, the Galaxy's double in 2005, The Galaxy playing Real Madrid, amongst other things. But it was really interesting because I saw the comments on the timeline too, Jose, and one of the comments that I made me laugh out loud was this something to the effect of the Galaxy are tired of letting these independent podcasts have the narrative, right? and I laughed so hard because I hadn't thought of it, and I was just like, I'm certain they don't think about me. And on to maybe Josh, maybe Josh, right? But I'm certain they don't care about us, right? But what do you think? I mean, should all MLS teams have their own podcasts and embrace this kind of like wave of new media, or should this space be for us, to cover these teams independently without quote unquote state media or favoring the party line, quote unquote? What do you think, Jose?
I think I think it's a combination of both. I actually believe every club should have this independent media outlet that it can rely upon, right? And sometimes when I say reliance, it's really reliance to be the voice of the fan. And I think that at the highest level, right, when you think about incorporating legacy media is kind of what I refer to, professional pundits, there is some sort of an agenda almost always, right? Whether it's Fox telling Alexi Lawless and Landon Donovan how to kind of approach it. Eric Winaldes talked about it on Unleashed on Goals TV. There are things they can say, things they can't. And for that reason, you need independent media. You need the fans' voice. You need a true pulse on what's going on with the club. And the only people who will be that real when it comes to it are the fans, right? I mean, look, this podcast is a perfect example of that. Despite what the LA Galaxy might be going through, La Cuna Galaxiana rolls on, right? The shows are week in, week out, nothing stops. And it's not always sunshine and rainbows, right? You're going to have to talk about the team in a real way that allows the fans to feel like their sentiment is felt, their voice is heard, because not everyone is quite as comfortable, right, being this open about how they feel on camera in front of others. So they have voices like you guys they can rely upon. I do believe every club needs that. I think the perfect example is someone like with Austin FC and We Are Austin TV. I love Edna. I love what they're doing down there. And they get so many opportunities because of how much they've grown, how professional they've become. But the one thing that's never sacrificed is their sentiment, their feeling, their emotions, and how well the fans are incorporated into all the content they produce. So there's a happy medium here, and I hope that clubs find a way to explore that.
Well, Jose, I know you got to dip and get out of here, but before you do, please let us know where we can find you. Please let us know what you have going on, and what else the folks can see you on next.
Yeah, I appreciate it, man. Goals TV, guys, on YouTube. Go check it out. GOLZ TV. You can see these two gentlemen, actually all three of them, Honda, Ananda, and Rob, all on the show, and in a recurring fashion as well. Come check us out. We talk MLS. We talk everything American soccer in general, USL. Eric Winaldes on the channel as well. And pretty soon, a lot of rumblings about Premier League content as well. So much is coming on the way. I'm excited. It's going to be fun. You're going to see these gentlemen a whole lot more, hopefully. But again, I can't be grateful enough for them to invite me on the show tonight. Any chance I get to collab with you guys, I'm always down.
And a lot of sun bashing content as well. So there you go.
It's a good time. It was a good time.
That was a good time. Yeah. Thanks, man. Thanks for joining us, Jose.
I appreciate it, guys.
We'll see you soon. Honda, we're gonna keep it going with you here, man. What do you think? Should this be a space for independent creators, or do teams kind of maybe fall into that trap of having the party line out there?
I mean, Jose described everything perfectly, to be honest with you. Like, it should be from both parties, because at the end of the day, who's benefiting off of this? It's the actual club itself, and not just the club, the actual people who watch the club too, right? You need the person's objective, because as well too, the team's objective, they're just gonna cater to what the team is. Like they may be skewed to just saying the positives. They might skew to, I mean, who knows? Maybe they skew to saying the negatives, which I doubt. But like, for example, right here with you guys got the full balance, right? Some days you're gonna be positive, some days you're gonna be negative. You just tell the truth straight up. But I do think the team should have their own, just to have their perspective as well too. And like MLS in general, if they got a podcast, why not?
Yeah, and they do, right, with Apple TV and Extra Time. I was gonna say, Rob, like one of the things that shout out Judge Sophie, wherever you are, she always says, Rob, football is a democracy, right? She calls it the footballing democracy, and I think thinking about that idea in general, I think that for me the takeaway is there's a space for everyone, right? Of course, everyone has their advantages and disadvantages, but like for the club, for example, their disadvantage is going to be making sure that they don't throw the party line, that they don't sound too homerish, right? Because I'm sure that's like a stress test for them in terms of how fans are going to react. But I think this idea or notion that, you know, teams or people or some certain sections of the fan base shouldn't have a voice, I think that's probably not the right idea. And I think a democratic sort of idea and take on, I think everyone having a space, I think is warranted. Now, depending on if they abuse that space, that's a whole different conversation. But I think at least everyone should have a platform and a voice, including the clubs.
Well, I have not seen the first episode yet, but people have told me it's really good. They even spoke about one of my favorite players of all time, Zidane, smoking a cigarette in the tunnel of the digs. So, I mean, it seems like it's entertaining. And like I mentioned, it's once a month. So go ahead and check that out, guys, if it so interests you. Last bit of news here before we get into this game, unfortunately. MLS, it was reported, has just smashed their transfer record. They spent $336 million on transfers in 2025. With the end of the transfer window just last week, they have nearly doubled the previous record spend of last year of 188 million. So from 188 million to 336 million. That is a lot of feria. And that equates to a 75% increase in transfer spend, making the league the 8th highest spending league in the world. MLS also noted in its report that nearly half of its clubs have made a club record signing in the last 2 years. I believe that is true for the Galaxy because they bought Gabriel Peck last year. Some of the leagues that have the highest rate of import to MLS: Brazil with 11, Argentina with 10, England with 8, and Portugal with 8 as well. The 336 million doubles the current spend of Mexico's Liga MX. And some of the biggest transfers of this year include FC Cincinnati's 16.3 million to sign Kevin Denke from Bruges, Atlanta spending 22 million for Emmanuel Latlath, buying him from Middlesbrough, and of course, just recently, LAFC smashing all of them, buying Son from Tottenham Hotspur for 26 million. They also did report that RAM, which is the mechanism that allows MLS teams to trade cash for players in the league, real allocation money, as they called it. So now there's TAM, GAM, and RAM. RAM has contributed more than 40 million in transfer transactions on 11 different players so far, and 7 different players have moved outside of the league. Each of these deals was valued at $10 million or more. So Don Garber's talked about how he wants MLS to be a major player in the transfer window in the world market. Honda, does this tell you anything about MLS's ambition, or if they're getting to Don Garber's goal?
This is much more ambitious. You said double, right? They doubled last year's. It's definitely super ambitious, especially going 8th in the world. Think about all the European leagues, right? that have big cash, or even in Saudi, right, where they're supposed to have big cash. Middle East, right? But yeah, literally to come 8th, doubling not only their own transfer record, but you said they doubled Liga MX's.
Yeah. So what? I mean, they are at. Let me find that exact figure again here. 336 million, which is double that of Liga MX. So yeah, Liga MX is around 188 million, 190 million, something like that.
That just shows the difference in ambitions between each league, bro. Liga MX, although I love it so much as well too, they're kind of living in the past, and they need to fix up, right? MLS always looking in towards the future, right? From what I'm seeing.
Yeah, I think the trend's positive, Rob.
Yeah, no, I think so as well. I mean, you're starting to see the ambition. I mean, again, Galaxy fans might kill me again, but I've said on a couple of different podcasts that I feel like Sun coming to Los Angeles is a positive. I mean, not for the Galaxy directly, but it's a positive for soccer in Los Angeles. It's a positive for the profile of the league. I mean, he was the biggest selling jersey in the world over Leo Messi just recently. So that tells you how big this is for MLS. To have a couple of players now in the league that have the highest selling jersey, their popularity is at an all-time high. It's really good. It's really good for soccer in this country, leading up to what Jose called, the biggest tournament in this country's history. Guys, unfortunately, we got to talk about this game now. Dang.
Yep.
Tough.
Sad for hours. Sad for hours. It's here.
Yeah.
What everyone's here for.
Which one of you guys is going to start? Yeah, no. Which one of you guys is going to start spinning the Smiths right now, or the Cure? Because it's definitely like sad 4 hours. I don't. I mean, yeah. I mean, I don't. I got to break it on my hot topic gear for this one. This one was sad because, Ananda, you mentioned that there was some hope, and yeah, that I mean, a lot of Galaxy fans were feeling that hope, and they were thinking, man, we're gonna host a final against Leo Messi here at the Digs. It's gonna be crazy. It was not to be. However, the Galaxy's old foe themselves popped up, and 7 minutes in, it was calamity. But before we get to the game recap, we want to thank you guys once again for being here in chat. We want to thank our guest, Honda, for being here with us. And, of course, if you want to know when we have guests on, subscribe to this channel. Go ahead and do it. You know you want to. If you subscribe to this channel, Honda and Ananda will take shots with you. Promesa.
He just opened Pandora's box. Anyways, moving on.
Yeah.
Next segment.
Okay, so lineups. Let's start where we always start. Let's look at these lineups and the big surprises that we saw immediately. We knew Nascimento was questionable, but then here was the other big one. Ramiro Garces, he misses out due to injury, and you could definitely tell that he was a big miss. Honda, first thought when you saw this lineup?
See, I am very vocal when it comes to our players being shit. Zenka, I'm sorry, but respectfully, he has been one of the reasons why our back line has been so atrocious this season. Why did we go after him?
You know, it's funny because just last pod, I had praised him for putting a decent couple of games together, and then he has a couple of moments that I just can't defend. I mean, I talked about it at the top of the show, Honda, about how perhaps I saw a different game than a lot of people because I really liked the hustle and the heart and in las ganas of a couple of these players, and then I also put the caveat there at the end, but I can't defend a couple of players, and not only can I not defend a couple of these players, but just on this first goal. Zonka falls asleep. I mean, it's this calamity in the back. I've said it a couple times. I mean, there's miscommunication between Micovic and Cuevas, but then you have Zonka that's ball watching there. I mean, if you look at the tape, he kind of stands there and looks, and it's unacceptable in a semifinal.
I was gonna say, I don't think Honda's alone. My timeline was filled with like pure Zonka hate, but this is what we're talking about, Zonka, right? And I think that you guys can probably agree with this, which is, well, there's two parts to this. One is Emmy's a huge miss. Garces is a beast in that back line. He provides the speed that we don't have, especially when against wingers like De La Vega and Rothrock. You're gonna need that speed, right? And we got caught in so many. I mean, this game, guys, could have easily been 2-3-0 in the first half. That's the scary part. The second part is, for every couple of games, Rob, that we can praise Zonka, we'll have a couple of good games, right? Consistent, solid. We get the result. He will have a blunder like this. A calamity is bound to happen, right? And it happens in the biggest moments, unfortunately. And that's what we can say about Zonka. He's consistently inconsistent, I guess.
I like that. Consistently inconsistent. Well, yeah, he was there and got assist instead. And you could definitely tell in the opening exchanges that Seattle was getting the better of Maya Yoshida and Zonka. And then later we would see in a pivotal moment where it happens again. But the other big thing here in the lineup is that through Nasty Mentos, or Big Matt Nasty, aka Nasty Mentos, being out through injury, Greg elected to start Miguel Berry for the second straight game at the 9. Thoughts, Ananda?
I mean, I said it last match. I would have much preferred Marco Royce as a false 9, see what happens, and then like make your subs if you need to change the game at that point. But at least Marco Royce gives you like that sort of false 9, right? And so the wingers and maybe some of your midfielders can make those deep lying runs and let Marco pull the strings. Now, maybe Greg was thinking, Marco against the physical nature of Yamar and Reagan, probably not the best matchup. And I could kind of see that, but putting in a guy that hasn't even played. I mean, he played, 70, 80 minutes last match, but Christian Ramirez and Barry have been rotting there on the bench. So you're going to put those types of players in a huge semifinal. I don't know about I'm not with that one. I would have loved to see, like I said, if you wanted to make the change, like make the change to change the game. I'm cool with that. But starting off like that, I don't think Barry offered us enough. And again, we talk about huge misses. Nasty now is a huge miss. Just we missed that focal point and the work rate. You need work rate against Seattle.
What do you think, Honda? Was Greg forced into this lineup through Emilio Garces being out, through Nasty Mento being out?
I don't think about the Nasty Mento one. I think he had plenty of options. Like Ananda said, you could play for Royce at the false 9. Christian Ramirez probably would have been better at the striker position, right? As well, too. But at the end of the day, why didn't you trust one of the youth players that played very well against Colorado? Why not trust them?
Yeah, I mean, our colleague Damon Calhoun asked Greg in the post-match press conference if he had any thought of putting back in Chris Rindolph, who had a wonderful debut and didn't put a step wrong. And Greg was, praising Rindolph, but just kind of said that he was going to go with his experienced players. That Maya was available, so he was going to go with Maya. So that option was there, but he chose to go with that center back partnership.
Harbor Miller, I loved how he played versus Colorado. How he played versus Colorado. Put him in the wing. Yeah. Painso up top, which what we did for part of the season last season. It worked out. Why not try it again?
That could have also been an option. Absolutely. That was another one of my thoughts as well. Instead of Royce as a false 9, JP at number 9 and Harbor Miller on the left, where he played last game, and he balled lights out.
Yeah, no, let's get into this match proper here. Let's give you this narrative here. If you were lucky enough to miss this one, then let me tell you what happened. But before I tell you what happened, I'm just going to read off Zippers Forever here's comment. Did we look well rested and sharp from the first touch? No, that's on the training staff. Zonka well rested is sharper than yesterday. Beyond just Zonka, everyone was slow from the start. And I agree, they were slow from the start. For a game of this importance, for everything that the Galaxy had talked about in the lead up to this match, I told y'all folks, they said all the right things. They came out and they looked a little sluggish and a little slow and just not really there. Micovic was forced into an early save. Not to mention that it could have been, 4-0 at the half. Well, Micovic was one of the reasons that it wasn't 4-0 at the half. He made huge saves time and again, mostly on Di Rosario. Certainly the one at the beginning was on Di Rosario. And then he made another huge save. But unfortunately for Micovic, after his good save, there's a mix-up at the back between he and Mauricio Cuevas. And no one else in the defense dares to clean up the loose ball. They kind of just leave the ball there. There's that ball watching by our friend Zonka.
But you see what's interesting about this? Because I pulled this up because I thought it was interesting. Because look at Micovic. He's like, I got it. Look at his hands. Look at his motions. Right now,
right.
You can probably still put the blame on the other defenders to at least suss out the danger in case something happens. But this is one of those like miscommunication moments that, again, Jose said it, put it perfectly. I think if this doesn't happen, it could have been a different game. But what a huge mistake, man, in the biggest moment. But I thought that was interesting, though.
So you're going Micovic over anybody else as the main culprit here?
I not necessarily. I think it's a shared blame, as we like to say. But the fact that I didn't catch this part, I didn't see Micovic like with the hand signals, and as a goalkeeper though, you have to be commanding, right? You have to be commanding, and you have to be like you have to get to that ball. Like if you're gonna call for it, you better get to it, right? Which unfortunately Rothrock but look at Rothrock's position though. I mean, the guy was everywhere. So that I think that's more credit to him and his effort.
Yeah, well, Rothrock keeps this one alive and gets loose, bounces around a couple times, and Pedro de la Vega takes advantage and slots home the 1-0 in the 7th minute. First reaction, Honda, after the 7th minute goal. What was your first thought here?
Viven in un country. That's all I'm gonna say.
Oh yes, if you know, you know. Viven in un country. Well, I've said a couple times that the Galaxy did start slow. However, I also said yesterday on my live tweet that they did grow into the match and they started looking better. They had, at least in the first half, in the end of the first half, in the last maybe 20 minutes, they had a couple of opportunities. I mean, Diego Fagundez stung Thomas's palms. There was one that I would have been a top 10 golazo of the year if Mauricio Cuevas had scored this, but Mauricio Cuevas gets free on the byline. He breaks not one, but two tackles, and he takes the shot, and Thomas makes the good save. Brian Schmetzer said of his goalkeeper, Andrew made saves when he needed to make saves, and he absolutely did. Had Cuevas scored this at 1-1, it would have also been a different game, a game in which this crowd would have roared into life. That's a moment that absolutely would have lifted the stadium off its bottoms, but it was not to be. Also, some shoddy refereeing there in the beginning of the really throughout, but in the first half made it a little bit harder as well for the Galaxy to get into the game. So not making any excuses for these gentlemen because they only had themselves to blame. But after their good end to the first half, after the restart, what can I say? It's the return of that Di Rosario celebration, just like his pappy used to do. Jose's muscles Yoshida and Zonka off the ball, off a restart, flicks it up to himself a couple times, gets it loose, and pokes it in after getting the better of both defenders. And that's pretty much all she wrote, ladies and gentlemen. The Galaxy did get a shot of hope when Nuhu gets sent off for a rough challenge on Gabriel Pecchi, but they can't take advantage of the man advantage, and they fall to defeat. And that's all she wrote. Honda, I know third place games are usually like, whatever, right? But this one has the added significance that if the Galaxy win, they make the Champions Cup. Is that motivation enough to get up for this?
It has to be. This is all we got left, literally, right? The season, it's pretty much done unless somehow Austin FC and San Jose end up losing all their games remaining, which I doubt, right? And then the bottom teams below them, they just end up with a whole bunch of ties, right? Like, this match for third place, we want the Champions Cup, obviously. If we bring in the right pieces, we could compete in there. However, are we going to bring in the right pieces? Are we going to sell the right pieces as well, too, right? Mauricio Cuevas, let me glaze him for a little bit, right? I've gotten to the point where I've annoyed Jose with saying, hey, take your money for some GAM because we need some GAM over here, right? It's just, I feel like we need to trust in the academy as well as bringing in some pieces. A good balance.
No, I agree with you. Some of these players are starting to emerge, and it's going to be nice when they're ready to step into the first team. However, I'm going to be a Mickey defender here real quick. You got to remember this man did serve up 2 assists in the Galaxy's last match, and he won a place in the MLS Team of the Match Day. So I think he still has his place somewhere on this roster.
The question.
Go ahead.
I'm saying I wouldn't mind. I'm not saying get rid of him right now, but I'm saying I wouldn't mind if he does go because Cuevas is doing so well.
I was going to say, Rob, you could have a 2 assist performance though from a guy that makes less than half of that salary. So that's a Will Kuntz question, right? So again, we're not salary cap experts, but that's like a legitimate, I think, head scratching moment that the front office has got to think about.
We're gonna have to ask Dr. Raquinho, who is a salary cap expert, to explain all of this to us. But Ananda, what was your big takeaway from the stat box here for this match?
Yeah, just to show Seattle's dominance. I mean, you look at that expected goals on the bottom there, 2.6 expected goals from Seattle to 0.3, Rob, for the LA Galaxy. The other one, too, is 0 big chances for the LA Galaxy. So Seattle does a great job of limiting teams to not giving up many clear-cut chances, especially inside the box. If you think about all of our shots, other than the Cuevas one, everything was outside the box. We had like a peck curler in the first half as well, but everything was outside the box against 2 banks of 4. So that, I think that just shows Seattle's dominance. But you guys can kind of read through that box score. I mean, in most of the statistical categories, other than possession, which Seattle doesn't mind possession. Again, it's possession with a purpose, right? Like we can have all the possession in the world. I think this is like beating a dead horse with the Galaxy. But yeah, man, it's the fact that Seattle is so good at suffocating teams. But on the flip side, I guess if you look at it just from a scoreline perspective, of course, I said we got to keep the scoreline tight. And the fact that that first goal was let in so early, I think that completely flipped the game on its head. And Rob, the Galaxy's Achilles heel shows up again, and it's not an Achilles heel that's like showed up this year. It's been all season, right? The Galaxy's Achilles heel of that defense and the lack of concentration in our end of the half. That's been killing us really for the better part of I don't even know how long now. Like, we've never been a really good defensive team.
Yeah, no, it's I spoke about this on the last pod as well. For the past couple of seasons, the Galaxy hasn't been able to sort out the defense. In 2023, it's 67 goals shipped with Jonathan Bond. Last year, it was I don't know how many goals last year. The Galaxy did improve on the defense last year, but for a lot of the year, the defense was the reason being pointed to that they might not win. They did turn it on defensively in the run up to the MLS Cup through Garcia's emergence, but yeah, no, if it hadn't been for that, I mean, if the Galaxy had failed to pick up MLS Cup, it would have been the fault of their defense, and you see the defense let them down over and over again this year. 2 soft goals in this one. Obviously, we did speak to some Galaxy players in the post-match presser, in the mix zone, and Maya Yoshida let us know. It was funny because he was talking to Josh. I was standing right next to him, recording, and Maya gets the question, what went wrong defensively, and he says it's just individual mistakes. Of course, we need more solidarity, not only this game but through the whole season. We concede too many goals. And then he started shaking his head, very frustrated. I'm tired of this. And he looks at Josh and he just kind of pointed. He's like, this, that everybody is frustrated about this. And then he kind of went back to being more introspective. He said, we need to defend it better for sure, but it's not happening today. It's not happened this season, since last season, or even before. So Maya pretty much admitting as much as well. But let's be honest here. Seattle suffocated the Galaxy. Seattle made the Galaxy nervous enough to commit these blunders, spooked them a little bit. And at this point, it's fair to say, I think, that Seattle has the Galaxy's number. Honda, do you think that Seattle is now officially the Galaxy's bogey team?
They've been the Galaxy's bogey team. This is back when Galaxy was actually doing well as well, with like Robbie Keane, Landon Donovan, that age, because that's when Seattle was also freaking a monster. I mean, they're still a monster, but they're not like how they were back then, right? Here's the thing, the interesting thing, going back to the defense, right? Last time we conceded less than 50 goals was in the freaking 2020 season.
Ooh, yeah, with the shortened schedule, with less games.
Exactly. And I think even before that,
Hana doing the stat work right here. Yeah,
but no, and you know what? A point that was brought up in the chat too, going back to the Seattle point, is Super says, especially with Greg. I think Seattle's been Greg's bogey team from his day, all the way from his days in Toronto, right? So, yeah, man, it's tough. I mean, you look at Rob, the stats, like the Galaxy's only won 3 wins in the last 10 meetings with Seattle. I mean, we've been bounced out of the League's Cup, right, 2 years in a row by Seattle, and the 2 of those wins, Rob, were 1-0s. I mean, that is the blueprint. I think I was having a back and forth with. Shout out, wait, who's on back and forth with? I'm like, this is too early for me. XPH. I was having a back and forth with XPH on Twitter, and I was saying that, that is the blueprint though to beat Seattle. You have to be super defensively solid, work rate times 100, and keep it tight. 1-1, 1-0, 2-1. Like, you've got to have that narrow margin, because the way Seattle plays, like you said, use the word suffocate. Absolutely right.
Yeah, all I got to say is Brian knows it. I mean, we were in the post-match presser with him, and he was so nonchalant, Ananda. He was taking questions and doodling and looking at the wall, kind of like, just that it was expected. Just like I said in my one-word match reaction, that Seattle was going to beat the Galaxy. He was nonplussed. We have a super chat. Thank you to Thomas Tremblay. Thank you so much for being in chat. He says, we need the independent content creators like you guys. Keep moving forward, boys. It makes my day when Rob engages me on next. Oh, thanks, man. Thanks for all you do. And to think we do it for you, just like Bryan Adams. Thank you for being here again, Thomas. Yeah, this is a tough way to lose, but it's also, like I said, expected. I mean, Seattle has gotten the better of the Galaxy a lot recently. I mean, the Galaxy did win the one that mattered, the Western Conference final, but aside from that, it's been few and far between the moments of happiness over Seattle. And for the Galaxy to get back to the level that they need to be, they need to start consistently beating teams like Seattle, because Seattle is considered one of the better teams in the league. So they need to go ahead and get back on that level. Like Honda said back in the day with Robbie Keane and all those guys, where those battles were epic, but you went into those battles having a good shot at victory. In this one, the Galaxy went into this one as underdogs. So it's kind of unfortunate that it's gotten to that point. But again, the Galaxy need to get back to the point where they're consistently challenging Seattle. GCam said, thank you so much for your super chat, GCam. He says, this is for the Bryan Adams reference. Rad pod. Thank you so much, man. It was the summer of '69, and yeah, I do love that Bryan Adams. There is a picture that he sports wearing that Canadian tuxedo, all denim. Gotta love it. Not a good look for myself, but for Bryan Adams, it's a good look. So question chat, and we'll throw it to Honda right after the chat. If the Galaxy win over Orlando on when is the game? Sunday. Yep. If the Galaxy win on Sunday and secure that Champions Cup spot, is the season saved? How does it make you feel, chat? Is the season saved? Honda, what do you think? Is it enough? The Champions Cup spot, only thing to get out of this year. How does that make you feel, man? Tell us your feelings.
If we were a regular club, yes. But this is the Galaxy. I'm saying hell no. Not even close. We are about to be the wooden spoon, and we barely got a third place in the Leagues Cup. I'm sorry. I can't back this to be a safe season.
Yeah, no, it's Marco said we can save the season by getting to the final. Unfortunately, even that didn't happen. Ananda, what do you think? Is the Champions Cup at the end of the day just a silver lining, or is it enough?
Mike's muted. Yep, got it. I was like, good thing now that like StreamYard has this little thing. It says Mike is muted. Perfect. Thank you, notifications.
I was like, I think you might be muted.
Good update there. But no, I'm going to put it this way, and maybe it makes sense, but I think it doesn't save the season for the Galaxy, but it may save face. You know what I mean? Like, we've got to have something to show this season, and for as awful as it has been, the Galaxy kind of need this to save face. We talked about it with the Nag Boys and B-Loves, which is we need, as a big club, if you want to continue or consider the Galaxy as a big club, we need to be in the biggest competitions. And that's for us, that's CCC, etc. Right? So, but I think to save it, because if we lose the third place match, I mean, like, oh man, like Galaxy Twitter's bad enough. Can't imagine what the rest of the season is going to be like with that.
Bro, Galaxy Twitter estaba bien tóxico después de la pérdida, bro.
You know it, bro.
Oh man, I was like, I'm really glad
this team is La Toxica right now.
Yeah, no, but it was part of me was just dying at some of these tweets because they were just so savage, and then it always just makes me kind of be like, man, Hopefully they don't cancel us one day. But anyway, Honda, you know how we do on the pod, man. We do a defending the badge for our outstanding performers here, and it doesn't even have to just be for the performance on the field. It could have been for that heart they showed, or that hustle they showed, or for something they did. Of course, some weeks after a tough loss, we give it to no one. But we're asking you if you had a defending the badge winner or a couple candidates.
The Glaze Cuevas. Honestly,
I thought you were gonna go there.
Yeah. What about you, Ananda?
I like Cuevas as well, man. Just showing that heart. Every game too. Like Diego always shows it for me as well. Think about Diego for a second, guys. Like that's not his position. He's playing out of position. Maybe that's his new position. I don't know. But like he looks okay in a double pivot next to Cedillo. And like this is going off on a little bit of a tangent, but you think about like the Sanabria signing, and that should have been Sanabria next to Cedillo, right? You spend $5 million on a guy with that type of talent, and you expect him to start in a big game like that, especially with his tackling ability, the way he moves about the pitch. But Diego's the one that's putting in the work rate. I mean, Diego's been actually really good this season in that position, win, lose, or draw. And he, Papa Diego, he's all about it. He's got that dog in him, right? He's always defending his teammates every time there's a little skirmish. I mean, this game did get physical in some moments. Did get chippy.
Our boy Diego loves a scrap.
Who's the first one there? Always Diego. Siempre Diego, Papa. Adelante, Diego. But yeah, man,
that life.
He's always about that life. But yeah, I mean, it's hard to give it to anyone else. I mean, I think Micovic had a pretty good performance. He saved us in that first half. I think his performance has to be noted. But if you're talking about defending the badge and wearing that crest, I think it's been Diego really for the last couple of matches, in my opinion. He's been solid. And then the interesting question heading into next year is going to be, what is that salary going to look like, right? Last year's deal, he's on 1 point something odd million. Ooh, that's going to be an interesting contract conversation with Will Kuntz.
Yeah, I don't envy either party in that conversation here. But no, I got to go with a lot of folks here in chat. Micovic gives the Galaxy a chance to even be in this match. I mean, he made, I think that I can remember just off the top of my head, at least 3 point blank saves on one-on-ones. I mean, this one could have gotten ugly really, really early if not for Micovic. And the fact that he makes these saves, I think, kind of even spurs his teammates on. I feel like his one blemish is on that first goal, the miscommunication. But I also feel like his defense leaves him out to dry. And they probably could have mopped this ball up. And then you're talking about a different game. Fortunately, not to be, but I still got to give it to Micovic. He made some real big saves, and we've spoken about Micovic, and was he going to be the Galaxy keeper of the future? We talked about him in that goalkeeper battle with John McCarthy at the beginning of the year, and at some point you just needed to find out. Give him game time to find out if he was going to be your goalkeeper of the future, because you did spend $1 million on him. And I think that with this type of performance, you're starting to see that he probably can be that goalkeeper of the future. He's going to keep you in games and give you a chance to go ahead and win, except for that odd blunder against. But
I pulled this up because it's un buen comentario, man, from Tranquilito. He says,
I agree.
Communication is proving costly. I think this is the room for improvement for him. Excellent shot stopper. I think he can get a little better with his distribution too, but this is it right here. This is going to, I think, propel him to that next level. But
yeah, you know what? I think there's kind of like an offshoot of that. Can you bring that back up?
Oh, let me find it. I just unstart it, Papa.
No, it's all good.
He's young, 23 years. He still has time.
That's super young for a goalkeeper.
And you know what? The other thing I was going to say is that, like, he's got the ability. Again, chat may disagree. They may crucify me for this one, but I think he's a good goalkeeper. I mean, he has a good shot stopping ability. He's shown that he could be adept with his feet. Again, he has the odd blunder, but I think because he should be confident in his abilities, he's got to pick up a little bit more swag, man. He's got to like be a little bit more cocky, and I think with that cockiness and confidence comes him being a little bit more vocal and directing his teammates and letting them know, like, nah, son, you here, you there. I mean, there was one play I remember in particular that he should have claimed, but Maya Yoshida heads the ball out, and you gotta be strong enough as a goalkeeper. Yes, that's your captain, but you gotta say, hey, that's mine, son. And you know what? If you have to push your own defender out of the way, like you gotta do that and claim, right? But he's just not doing that right now because, again, like you guys said, he's young, but he'll hopefully grow into that, and hopefully segue time, and hopefully he'll be at his absolute best this weekend when the Galaxy face off against Orlando in the third place match. It marks the 9th time that these teams meet. The Galaxy trail the all-time series 3-5-0. Orlando getting the better of them as well. In the last meeting between these two teams this season, the Galaxy fell 2-1 against Orlando City. If y'all remember, that was the game that John McCarthy has the clanger there at the very
Banana
end.
hands. Yep. Banana hands. Oof.
This one, the Galaxy led for most of the game. They give up a penalty very, very late, and then John McCarthy drops the ball into net for the loss with basically the last kick of the game. In 4 all-time matches played at the Digs against the Lions, the Galaxy hold a 2-2-0 record. The Galaxy have won the previous 3 matches against the Galaxy. There are also question marks about this weekend's potential lineup, Ananda, because Garces still has not been cleared. Nasty Mento still has not been cleared. And of course, Ricky is the long-term injury here. Honda, if Garces is not clear to play here, do you think Greg should maybe go ahead and give a Rindolph or dare I say even a Zavaleta a look over Zonka?
Oh,
Rindolph, absolutely 100%, right? Put him in there with Yoshida. I would love that back line. I would actually watch the game because we would stand a chance against that Orlando offense. Even a slight chance.
Yeah, that Orlando offense is pretty potent. We'll get into that here in a sec. They do have a couple of players missing. Wilder Cartagena played 32 matches for the Lions this year. He is out for the rest of the season. Yutaro Sukada only played 3 matches for Orlando so far this year, so his absence is not so much of a worry. But you're kind of looking at a modified look of what this Orlando team usually plays. They usually play that 4-2-3-1 with Muriel as the striker up top there, Ananda, with Angulo, Heda, and Pasalic just behind him, Atuesta and Araujo holding pretty much the same back line. Who do you think is the biggest worry here in this lineup, Honda?
Ojeda, 100% is the biggest worry right there. Listen, Cuevas is going to lock up Angulo. I have my beef with Angulo as well, too. I got a few friends who don't like on the starting lineup over there at Orlando as well, too. But, I mean, Ojeda, 100%, bro. He is MVP candidate as well, too, if Orlando makes it far.
Yeah, no, he's been, as the kids say, lights out and on fire. Ananda, what are some stats here that you can call out that might give us a little bit more insight into how we're going to do our prediction here?
Yeah, I mean, I don't have the normal stats that I usually pull up because I think, Honda just said it. I mean, Orlando's a very, very good offensive team. Like, very, very good. They're top 3, Rob, in all the offensive stats in MLS play in terms of XG, shots on target, big chances. I mean, I think defensively they're not the greatest team, so that's probably where you're going to try to hurt them the most. But they're going to try to outscore you. Very similar team to the Galaxy last year. High scoring offense, middle of the road defense, good enough. But of course, Papa, you've got El Pulpo back there. You've got a good shot stopper, good goalkeeper in Pedro Gallese. So, I mean, he can, of course, win the game by itself. I mean, you remember that the goal the save that I turned your attention to against Luis Suarez with that half court. That was a crazy good save. So, yeah, that's the type of goalkeeper he is.
Honda, did you see that one?
Yeah. I mean, I also saw the absolute robbery in that game. Miami.
Yeah. Oh, man. Yeah. Well,
the FC.
You know, we could do a whole pod on this particular.
That's a pod we need to do with John from Loud and Proud Honda.
Yeah, so. Yes, definitely. But now this man El Pulpo se lanza como Superman, and he makes the one-handed save on Luis Suarez's chip attempt. So yeah, Ananda's right. I mean, he could go ahead and win this match all by himself. I mean, goals prevented this year 2.3. But Honda was talking about Martin Ojeda and his playmaking ability. 14 goals, 9 assists. He is, of course, the danger man, but he is not the only guy that you got to watch out for. You got to watch out for Marco Pasalic, rather. His lethalness in front of net. 11 goals, 4 assists for him this year. And then, of course, you have Luis Muriel, who... Let's face it. I mean, he has quality that can win the game as well for you. 9 games, 9 goals, 5 assists. Ramiro Enrique, 8 goals. Alex Freeman getting into the attack from the wing, 4 goals and 2 assists. And then playmaking from the middle, Eduardo Atuesta, ex-LAFC, with 6 assists there. Honda, you see this high-powered offense. You see a Galaxy defense that has been shooting itself in the foot. We're gonna kick you this very pertinent question that we totally that we always give towards the end of the show. And chat, go ahead and feel free to go ahead and let us know as well. For the Galaxy to win this match, they have to ... fill in the blank.
Pay the refs.
Mic drop.
Yo,
and the show.
No faith at all, huh?
I'm sorry, Orlando is just way too good, bro. And they should have won the last game. We should have been facing Miami for the match of 3rd place. It is what it is, though.
Yeah.
Well, hot takes from Honda. Ooh. Ananda, what say you? For the Galaxy to win this match, they have to...
Other than the obvious, play a lot better than they did against Seattle. No, I mean, look, I don't know how they're going to do this, but we just talked about how good Orlando is offensively. Like, we have to play a solid defensive game. Like, if this game is high scoring, I don't know if we can beat Orlando in a shootout, right? So they've got to treat...
Super One says
they've got to treat this like... they've got to kind of treat this like the conference finals and even the MLS Cup finals, which is you keep the game tight, keep the game cagey, you hit them in transition, which is what I said the last game, but the Galaxy clearly didn't do that. I mean, Seattle did a great job. Transition defense, like, we're very good. So if this is a shootout, forget it. Like, Galaxy, their season's done, right? So I think they have to find a way to be defensively sound. I don't know if that's like a formation tweak, probably not. I think that's just all 11 men buying in, Rob. That's it. The Galaxy aren't a good defensive team, but they have to be good team defensively in order to have a chance in this game.
Doesn't sound good, gentlemen.
Lasai?
Does not sound good. Yeah, Lasai, it does not sound good. Did Dr. Aquino get back from vacation yet? Did he have a chance to send in betting odds from his remote location in the Bahamas?
There's a few betting odds. So here's the line as of, well, for me, it was last night. So right now, the Galaxy are at a plus 155, plus 270 for the draw, and then Orlando's at plus 145. So it's pretty similar winning percentages, Rob, plus 155, plus 145. I don't think it's that close, to be honest with you. I think it's definitely much more Orlando City. But it'll be interesting to see. It'll be interesting to see. I mean,
you don't think the travel will affect them at all?
Maybe, but again, I think like GCam says, this team needs a guinea pig limpia more than anything else.
Gracias, GCam.
So there you go.
What about you, Honda? You don't think the fact that Orlando had to go to Miami, go back home, then they have to hop a flight, go across country, come to Los Angeles, you don't think that's going to affect them a little bit?
Didn't affect them during the season. I don't know why it would affect them now.
Fair enough.
And Rob, this is their only chance to get into CCC next year. Well, if they don't win MLS Cup, this is their probably at this moment, not knowing what's going on in MLS Cup and everything, and Supporter Shield, this is their best shot to get into CCC, right? They want to lock that up.
Well, they need to, go toe to toe with another team that has only one avenue to do that, which is the Galaxy. So, it's going to be an interesting match on Sunday, and this is where we get into our game predictions. And since we have a guest today, we're going to be hospitable, gentlemen, Ananda, and allow him the chance to go first. So, receipts. Honda, receipts. Honda, it is time to put it all out there and go ahead and let us know who you think will win this match. And chat, you can do the same. Go ahead and drop your game predictions here in chat. Let us know who you think is going to win this third place match between the Galaxy and Orlando. Kicking it over to Honda. Honda, who will win this match, the Galaxy or Orlando? Give us a scoreline.
You put a very pessimistic man on the mic right now, bro.
Ooh.
Very pessimistic. I'm going to go Orlando 3-0.
Yikes.
Hey, that'll mean My Chemical Romance on repeat all night. Sad 4 hours times 10. What happened?
Tragos amargos, Ramon Ayala, bro.
Oof. Yeah, man. Tequila para todos. Ananda, since I went first last time, te toca.
Modelo Fu hours. Next pod.
Modelo Fu hours.
If there was a heart pick, I think the best case scenario is like a tie going into penalties and then take your pick. But yeah, this is like 2-1, 3-1. I just don't know how we counteract that high powered offense. The only way that I see us winning is if literally Orlando is off his game. If Orlando is who they are, I think we're gonna get spanked.
Man, nah, sons. I'm going all in. I'm cashing in my chips. I'm calling on the spirit of Robbie Keane. I'm calling on the spirit of Robbie Keane and David Beckham and Landon Donovan and those early teams that Honda called upon earlier. I'm calling on that spirit, and that fuerza, esa garra va a estar ahí para este equipo, and they will win this third place match 2-1, giving the Galaxy faithful at the digs something to cheer about. They've been few and far between, but I think they're going to get it done on Sunday. 2-1.
You better hope he plays like Robbie Keane for the first time ever in his life.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there might be a Nasty Mento sighting for that match, so hopefully that is the case. And yes, I know, chat, I am optimistic. They might say this guy is drinking the Kool-Aid, but you must also understand that all year I've been calling one thing and they've been doing the other. So today I'm calling one thing. Hopefully they go
against
they'll do
the other.
and hopefully they'll break the trend finally. But
Rob, you talked about the Galaxy faithful, and this is a point I didn't bring up earlier. And you were at the stadium. I was watching on TV, obviously, or on Apple TV. I think that would have been the X factor for me, and I think that will be an X factor, which is like, what's the crowd going to be like? Because that semifinal didn't feel like a semifinal, right? it was pretty empty. I mean, again, I wasn't there, so I couldn't tell you, but from what I saw,
You're right.
it was pretty empty. And so, like, we know this. The 12th man at the digs is always the X factor. And so, what's that crowd going to look like? Is there going to be enough heads out there to back this team and kind of push them to where they need to get to? Again, that's a whole different conversation, but the facts are the facts. It is what it is. The digs has been a library, right?
Cheap. I might actually go to this game.
Yeah.
You know what? I might actually pull up.
A lot of people are over it. So yeah.
Yeah, no, it's tough. You're right. A lot of people are over it. And another favorite tweet of mine in post defeat was everybody was just waiting to see what happens in this match before they opt out to their season tickets in a couple of days, which is in a couple of days, y'all. If you are a season ticket member and you are planning on opting out, you have till August 31st to do so. Go ahead and hit up your ticket rep if you are planning on doing so. They will charge you, so go ahead and get it done early. Anyway, Honda, you're going with that loss. Ananda, you're going with that loss. I'm the only brave soul that's bucking the trend and saying that the Galaxy will win.
Because chat's going with the loss too, either 0-4 or 3-1 or 3-1 win. Wait, 3-1 win for okay, I see. Yeah, I mean, it's going to be interesting. I could see that variation, but 3-1 Orlando, 3-1 Orlando. Yeah, man. Listen.
Yeah, this game has a daytime kickoff. I mean, those kind of things have affected this team all year. I mean, just
body
like
clock,
little random variables like that have affected this team, and they really shouldn't, but they absolutely do. Honda, Ananda, let's hit up a couple announcements and get on out of here so the people can go to beds and get some sleep. Joseph Painso was called up for Ghana. He will be playing against Chad on September 4th, and then on September 8th, Monday versus Mali. Of course, that means he will miss the Galaxy versus Houston on 9/6. 3 Galaxy Academy players also got the call: Ryan Hartley, Enrique Quique Martinez, and Mateo Achilles. They got called in the U.S. men's national team U17 roster. That's being held in the Netherlands from September 1 to 8. And VCFC will be playing North Texas on Sunday, August 31st at the Willie Roll at 7 p.m. Go ahead and make sure to go check out the Galaxy game at the Blue, White, and Gold pop-up that's also having a viewing party at Absolution Brew at 5:30. This one is going to be the 11th iteration of the Blue, White, and Gold pop-up. Please go ahead and take a stacked wallet because you will want everything. I know when I go, I usually do. So it gets me in a lot of trouble with the Minister of Finance. But anyway, if you wear some Galaxy gear, you will go ahead and get a discount on your entire tab. So go ahead and check out this event on September 6th, the Blue, White, and Gold pop-up from 3 to 8. Honda, thank you so much for being here with us tonight. Really quick, before we get on out of here, tell the folks where they can find you and anything else that you would like them to know.
Listen, you can find me on Goals TV, Wake Up MLS. That's usually where I'm at. I'm also doing a Liga MX podcast as well too on Goals TV on my main channel. Honda first times, by the way. I'm making the transition to H1T slowly but surely.
H1T, I like it. We like acronyms on here.
Yeah, no, and I like it. The hit maker. Yeah, let's go. Chat. You heard him. Go ahead and give this man some love. Catch him on Goals TV. If you're into Liga MX, you found a home for good Liga MX content with Honda or H1T. There we go. Hit him up. Hit him up to subscribe. And thank you so much, Honda. We appreciate you being here, man.
Hey, it's an honor again being here. One of my favorite shows. One of my favorite podcasts.
Thanks, man. You're free to come back whenever, man. We'll get you guys back for sure, and hopefully we get some other of the Goals TV guys back here as well. But No, Baba. Let's hope and pray for Sunday because the Galaxy fans need something to smile about.
Hopefully,
because
Rob is right, man. And,
hopefully he's a brujo, man. Hopefully he's a brujo. I'm not gonna hate on that because you know what? For me, I echo this. I was just gonna leave the last word to chat. Depressed Pottermus says, "Is it me or have we had similar conversations like this?"
Yes,
absolutely. And they need to end our misery.
all
They
year.
need to give us something to be happy about. So hopefully they do that on Sunday, man. That's all I got.
Even the players know, like that's why Maya said, like he just pointed at Josh and he was like, you guys know, like, yeah, we do know. We've been talking about it all year. The same thing has been happening. It's like over and over again. But like Maya also said, it's not going to get fixed this year. So at this point, you know, it is what it is. 2025 is a wash. Sunday is the Galaxy's one opportunity to kind of save some face. Like Ananda said, it doesn't take away the saying of the year, doesn't take away the embarrassment of the year, but it is a little silver lining to what is a really, really disheartening and disappointing 2025. Guys, thank you so much for being here. If you're here, it's because you found us at youtube.com/@Lacuna Galaxiana. You can find us pretty much everywhere at Lacuna Galaxiana. Go ahead and drop us a like, a comment. Go ahead and subscribe to this channel. Go ahead and show our man Hondo some love as well. And go ahead and stalk my co-host, Ananda Kirana. On Monday, September 1st, we'll be taking the day off, so we won't be here with you. Enjoy the holiday. We will be back with you, though, a week from now on Thursday, September 4th, as we bring you our LA Galaxy versus Houston preview pod. So we'll miss you on Monday, but we'll be back with you on Thursday. Take heart. We will be back and hopefully seeing each other very, very soon. For our guests today and for my co-host, this was another episode of Lacuna Galaxiana. Thank you so much for being here with us, chat. Les queremos mucho. And one thing left to say besides take heart, take hope, and stick together as a community. One thing left to say, G's up. Te quiero.